Hi everyone, I'm Márk, and today we are here in the glorious barrel room of our brewery to explore the latest guild box. Let's dive in. We brought you extremely exciting beers per usual, so let's waste no time. Alright, so let's start with the IPAs. And as you can see, we have a bunch of them. First of which is a collab brew with our friends from 1056. This is a Weedy West Coast IPA, as you can see on the label. Now this one is one of the main highlights of what we have been up to the last couple of months. We used terpenes in this beer. What are terpenes, you might ask? And you are very right to ask that. Terpenes are aroma components found in plants, all sorts of plants. There's obviously a bunch of these terpenes in hops as well, and cannabis. What Abstracts, the producers of this product, did was a kind of a reverse engineering approach. They examined the molecular construction of cannabis, and they checked what components were in there, and they tried to find those molecules in different plants. They used those molecules to put together the product that we use, which is a water-soluble, gas-based product to mimic that classic, very danky, citric characteristic of OJ Kush. And now we took this product and used it on this IPA next to a very citric forward, resiny West Coast hop profile. We really like how this turned out. It's dank, it's citric with a little citrusy punch in there to elevate the dankness, the green notes. Wow, punchy. I'm no smoker, but we kind of nailed it. I'm gonna finish this glass. Let us know how this experiment turned out. We really like it. And this beer came out to support the upcoming album of 1056, which is gonna be released on the 5th of September. You are among the first to be able to try this. Let us know how it is, how you like it. We're really stoked. Alright, let's move straight on to Television, which is a double IPA. We use our signature crank hop profile of Mosaic, Citra and Nelson, and added some cryopop to the mix just to even further accentuate the flavor profile and aroma profile, to also add some perceived sweetness to round out the citrus notes. I personally quite like this one. There's some sweetness to it, which I'm usually against, but this turned out really round. Beautiful. Next up is Umbrella, which is a US and New Zealand hop forward double IPA. This is Mosaic, Variety and Sabro. You can look for some lime in there, some berries from Mosaic, and also that beautiful coconut touch from Sabro, really deepening the flavor and rounding it out. Try these against each other if you have the chance. Even though both double IPAs roughly the same ABV, they do really line up against each other, showing different characteristics of the same style. Very interesting to do a side-by-side comparison, if you ask me. And we have one more double IPA to add to the mix, and this is the newest iteration of High Bomb 2025. So this is a beer that we have been brewing for a couple of years now. And as the name suggests, we always try to seek out the most hype, the most interesting hop varieties to use in this. This year's is Superdelic and Strata. We chose these hops to construct a complex hop profile. Superdelic gives red fruit-like candy, similar to candy characteristics, and some citrus as well. Also, I personally usually get some perceived sweetness, vanilla-like vibes, and Strata is bringing the straight-up tropical fruit, passion fruit vibes, just to round out the flavor. This you can find in our HoReCa partners and also the supermarkets. Check it out. I think this is banging. Alright, and next up is Headphones, which is a single IPA for a change, just to lighten the mood a little bit after all the double IPAs. For this one, we use a thiolizing yeast strain and mash hopped the beer. Just to recap, we have been doing this for a while, but it's probably good for you to remember as well. So what the thiolizing strain does is that it frees up aroma components that are in the beer or in the wort, coming from different ingredients, but otherwise they are bound to each other. But the yeast strain is capable of like freeing them up and thus like opening up the beer more. And we utilize this method in this one. This should give a different kind of a fruity punch. We use Nelson CGX in this one next to Mosaic and Citra, I think. So yeah, very punchy. I know that it's summer is almost over, but this is a terrace beer. This is a chugging beer. And finally, a sofa, yet another experiment that we did with terpenes. This is in a way similar to the 1056 collab, but the base beer is completely different. It's a completely different approach, different hop profile as well, and we used different terpenes in this one just to showcase the several sides of the product to give you a fuller picture. If I were you, I would probably try this side by side with the 1056 collab, see how they do against each other. Alright, let's move on to the more dark and heavier stuff. As you can see, this in this box you get a couple of Eureka beers, our guild specials. These are the more inventive beers. These are the beers in which we experiment with ingredients, with processes. Let's start with the Quintuple Mash Rye Stout. Quintuple. That's a lot, right? That's the 5-time mashed. So just a quick recap. Here at Moersleutel we double mash all our stouts, meaning that we use twice as much grains to get the amount of beer that we need in the end. So that's baseline. Twice as much, right? And then sometimes we do triple mash, which is one more mashes. This is the Oatwine. We'll get to that later. But Quintuple. So for this beer we mashed in 5 times to get the same amount of wort in the end than normal. So this is an extremely thick, heavy and super concentrated beer. This is not more sweet because body can come from unfermented sugars, but there's a different kind of extra body. In this you should expect, yeah, I don't even know how to describe this. This is gonna be super creamy, super rich, syrupy in a way. You can see that this flows almost not even like a liquid. This is like honey-like consistency almost. This beer we used rye in 3 different forms, and the grist, the malt bill is very rye forward. Almost up to 40% of all the grains are in there that are rye. So yeah. Holy moly! It's like straight away out of the glass. That really typical, like dried fruity, a little bit spicy, rye bread-like, obviously rye bread-like character. I have to be honest that I personally am a big fan of using different kind of grains. So the Oatwine, for instance, this rye heavy stout. They are much closer to, oh, wow, super caramel forward, super rye heavy. It's so good that I actually forgot what I wanted to say. So I'm just gonna move on to the next beer because I don't want to ruin the flavor of this beer in my mouth. The next 2 beers, they come from the same base. After they fermented out, we split them into 2 tanks and did 2 different kind of additions. One of them is a apple pie themed stout. For this we used apple core chunks, so as to get that, apart from the fruit flavor, that also that pithy, that apple core reminiscent, deeper, a bit nutty, earthy vibes. And we also used raisins, 2 different kind of raisins, one Peruvian and one Egyptian. And we laid a bunch of Comoros vanilla on top to mimic that apple pie flavor. And the other half went into the other bright tank, and this one is a peanut butter pina colada stout. What the hell, you might ask? And I do know that you asked this. And the reason that I know, because I asked the same question when I first saw this. Like, how is a tropical flavored stout gonna work out? And you have every right to question the decision. But you have to see it for yourself. This works perfectly. We used coconut in this, raw and toasted, like medium toasted. Also peanuts, Comoros vanilla, and pineapple, obviously. Just to get all that nutty but also tropical sweet and sour vibes in there on top of a heavy, creamy, thick stout. This is definitely something else, not our usual. This was really fun to make and it turned out great, so very happy with the result. Let us know what you think. And last but not least, we have the last Eureka, the 12-hour boiled oat wine. As the name suggests, this had undergone an extremely long boil. Now the main point of that was to utilize the so-called Maillard reaction, in which amino acids and sugars they react with one another, and the sugars get more complex, producing a more complex, deeper, Maillardy flavor. It's hard to explain. You have to see it for yourselves, but it's not just a simple sugary sweetness in this. And also oat wine, as the name suggests. The grist of this is very oat heavy, similarly to the rice stout. In this one we used up to 40% oats, 3 different kind of forms as well, to get that really creamy, fluffy, thick mouthfeel in there, just to explore different horizons, so to say. It took us very long to make this beer. I think, or we think that every minute was worth it, so we'll hope that you'll agree. And on this note, I am gonna jump straight onto the Extravagant, which, as you can see, is kinda similar to the Oatwine in terms of the length of the boil, but there are some differences as well. This one was only 6 hours of boil, and the base of this was a stout versus the Oatwine. In this, you can look for like caramel-like flavors, really deep, really rich caramel, molasses, like very complex sugary notes. As with every Extravagant, we pushed our boundaries to our limits to the maximum. All I can say is that it was fun to make. 2 more pastry factories. One of them is Millionaires shortbread, which is like a pastry-inspired stout, as the name suggests. It's a chocolate and vanilla cake. For this one, we put together a very carefully crafted base of cacao nibs from 3 different origins. One of them came from Peru, one from Madagascar, and one from Chile. We were trying to build the flavor as we usually do, and we used 2 different kinds of vanilla, one from Madagascar and Comoros. Madagascar gives more of the classic vanilla vibes, sweetness, and just like straight up vanilla bakery vibes. And Comoros is more like savory, more like a deeper characteristics. And the other pastry factory is another stout. This one is a twist on our core offering, Quad. This is a collaboration that we did with our friends with Matubu, the coffee roasters. We get almost all our coffee from Matubu at this point. The guys are based in Bruges, and we actually did a field trip with our team and visited them at the roastery. It was a lot of fun. They were great hosts. We did a cupping together. We did roast the beans together. This is a special blend of coffee beans that we used. It consists of beans from Brazil, India, and Salvador. We needed this coffee blend to be nuanced enough to keep things interesting, but also in your face enough for it to shine through the big and already pretty bold base what our beers are. And I think we managed to do that. They actually paid us a visit when we did the coffee additions. They gave us a hand with the coffee addition, then we explained some of the brewing process to them. So it was great fun. Cheers, guys. Oh yes, I almost forgot. Small guy. Yes. So if there's one certain sign that the summer is over, is that we release our yearly iteration of our Bock beer. I'm gonna spare all our Dutch viewers from trying to pronounce the name. I hope you can forgive me. I'm just gonna refer to it as our Bock beer for now. So this is the third or maybe fourth year that we make this beer, but it's never the same beer. We always try to tweak the recipe, make it different, explore more horizons. This year we used a different strain, yeast strain, which contributed some like fruity esters in there, like a fruity touch, on top of the robust caramel forward malt bill that we put together. So this is a pretty good warm-up, we think, for the autumn Bock festivals. Have this next to a fireplace, if you can do that, just to get in the autumn mood already. Alright, and now the grand finale, the latest Indulgence, which is number 26. I'm just gonna go ahead and crack this open straight up, because I really want to taste this. For this beer, we used two different kind of base beers that our barrel master, cellar whisperer, Daddy Michael, blended very carefully. One of them, two of the four base beers actually rested in Sazerac rye barrels for up to 20 months, and the other half of the beer came from bourbon barrels, Heaven Hill bourbon barrels. One of the bourbon-based beers is a triple mash stout, and the other one. And now things get even more interesting, if that's physically even possible. Some of you might remember, well, I hope most of you remember, one of the first Extravagant releases that we did, and that was the Extravagant chocolate stout, for which we used ungodly amounts of the best cacao nibs sourced by our good friend at KRAK chocolate. Now, we don't usually do adjuncts on Indulgence, but that beer was so good, so promising, that we couldn't help ourselves and saved some in bourbon barrels. And in those 20 months, that beer rounded out to perfection. So we took a part of it and blended into this beer, like a final touch to the... There's not really a cherry on the cake. I don't know, the chocolate glazing of the cake, if that makes any sense. And it is one of my like personal... The chocolate is already very obvious since I opened the glass, so I'm just gonna go ahead and dig in, because I can't anymore. So there's that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This is what beer feels like to me. This is a lot of chocolate. This is a lot of nougat. This is a lot of nuts in there. The bourbony vanilla touches, that caramel vibes, everything, and everything just comes together in perfect unison. It's another job well done by Michael. So shout out to him. And I'm just gonna be standing here and possibly finishing this glass. Until then, have fun. I hope you like the box. Let us know what you thought. Cheers. Really. You wanna try?